Good morning, Intenders.
Good morning.
Welcome and welcome back to Morning Intentions. Today is Thursday, August 6th. Thank you for joining us today, this week, and this month for the Courage to Know Yourself. I have been thinking nonstop about that quote. That quote is just stuck with me. That quote from Carl Jung. Can I just say it one more time? Would you mind?
No, I think it's a good one for all of us to have memorized, really.
Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That has stuck with me so much because there's the part of me that says, well, how many times have I misbehaved? How many times have I done what I really wish I didn't do? I look back, maybe with a sense of regret, guilt, or remorse, like, why'd I do that? I wish I didn't do that. If I could go back in time, I'd take that back. I wouldn't say those words. I wouldn't speak as harshly. I'd make a different choice. I was also thinking about how many times have people said things that have been hurtful to me or done things that have been hurtful to me, and they're just coming from their unconscious. Do they even know? Would they have made that same choice if they were coming from the conscious mind? I think for both of us, I'll speak for myself, but I think you might think this is true as well, Annette. There is that thing inside of us that can come from love and does come from love and wants a loving, nice, beautiful world. And maybe every time we're coming from our unconscious, we're turning that part of us off and we're not coming from that place of kindness within us. Maybe I'd choose different words if I could think through this more, because I've just been going crazy in my mind thinking how many things in this world are just coming from these unconscious minds.
So that leads to compassion. Yes. It also can lead to not taking everything so personally.
That's how I feel. Why did I take that so personally? If my thoughts are, if people were really thinking through their actions, if it was a true conscious mind thought, they probably wouldn't do that. They wouldn't act like that because they could see the damage that it does. Therefore, since they did that, they must be coming from the unconscious mind. Okay, so they weren't even really thinking now.
It helps to step back and create like some space between what somebody says and then we have this reaction. But then if we're saying, well, I may be coming from my wounds and being compulsive in my reaction, but they may have been coming from their wounds also in saying the things that they did. They're not thinking about it. It's just coming up, coming out. That leads me to what I wanted to bring to the podcast today. I didn't know that you were going to share what you just shared, but I love what you did, because probably one of the major stumbling blocks that is most common in our coaching clients and in our coaching practice when we start bringing up unconscious patterns and programs coming from our unconscious, acting in a way that is compulsive because it is coming from the unconscious, that can be a big stumbling blocks for our newer clients. They don't get that. They just say, no, that can't be true. So I wanted for us, especially before this week ends as our first week, what do we mean by that? Let's all become clear. When we talk about something coming from the unconscious, and it's more of a compulsion or a compulsive act or a compulsive reaction, what we're saying is that it's automatic. We don't reason it through. Those are the blind spots that Ada referred to on Monday. We have no clue that we are reacting in this way until either we start doing this work and we slow down and we become that observer, that second bird that we've talked about on the podcast, and we watch ourselves do these things. Or if we're open to feedback from others, they can show us our blind spots. So living on autopilot is another way to say this, where we just react and we put no thought into it. Another way to think about it is emotional reactivity. I was telling Ada at the end of one of the podcasts earlier this week, I have finally broken the habit that was a habit, that was a compulsion, that was automatic pilot. If someone would text me or text us, Ada and I would think everything had to stop and I had to respond. That was my compulsion, that people pleaser in me that says, I didn't even think about it. I would just say, oh, I got this text. I have to respond. And that was an unconscious pattern because that's me. There's something inside of me that learned a long time ago that if something happens and someone gives me a request or someone has an expectation of me, that I have to answer that immediately. That's what we're talking about when we're saying a compulsive act or a compulsion or living on autopilot. I didn't think it through. Now, though, after doing all this work, I get a text, it comes in, but I could be busy doing something else. And I know I really want to be present with the person that I'm texting. I now wait until I can be present. Before, I wasn't thinking about being present. I was just thinking, oh, I have to give them what they're asking for right away.
And what was funny about those moments in the past, we could be in a conversation. You and I could be talking about anything. It could be just a fun conversation. It could be a work thing. Your phone would go off, and then you'd have to interrupt the conversation and text back right away.
Exactly. And then now I look back and I say, that was such an unconscious pattern within me.
Well, I could see it too. I could see.
Well, see, you could see it, but I couldn't see it.
Well, no, but you have this. You had this look. Like I could tell you are gonna explode or something if you didn't text back.
It's funny that you should bring that up.
Not explode angrily, but just like you were just gonna pop with energy. Just like I gotta respond right now.
It was really a panic, actually.
That's the better word, because when I said explode, it's like explode from panic, not like you're gonna get really mad or upset. That's not even close. But it was the panic. I have to respond right now.
And if I don't, something bad's gonna happen.
Even if you were to interrupt me to respond, which I always thought was funny.
Well, because you're safe. You're not the person who's texting, and they could be safe too. But in my mind, you were safe. I knew I was okay with you. So I had to go and meet the needs of these folks over here, no matter who it was. It could be somebody that I'm not even friends with. They were just asking me a question because they wanted to come and mow my lawn. I don't know. I would just think I have to do it right away.
And that's the thing I would like everyone to know. Sometimes we can be on the receiving end of some people's unconscious behavior, and we can say, why would you do that? There's a lot of times where we're the safe ones, and that, again, we're not going around here making excuses and saying that's what Annette should do. I should be doing my unconscious patterns. We're not saying any of that. We're recognizing, and we have our curiosity challenges, and we have our awareness building. How are we showing up when we're not even thinking about how we're showing up?
And other people can see our blind spots a lot easier than we can.
So our intention for today is, I will bring awareness to what I do automatically, impulsively, compulsively, and reactively. I will bring awareness to what I do automatically, impulsively, compulsively, and reactively. Thank you so much for joining us today. Our day is better because you are part of our day. See you tomorrow.
See you then.